Welcome to the Full-Time Devils podcast. This is Adam McKola. Today I am with Gaz Drinkwater, Stephen Howson and Jay. Marty going with the full names, the full governmentals on here today.
What's my middle name? Do you know my middle name?
Drink.
If you're going to do that. You technically need to address me by rank. So.
What was your rank?
I'll give you that.
Corporal.
Well, yours is Ian, isn't it?
No.
Oh.
It's Paul.
Paul, that's it. I knew it was a proper, down
Gary
the pub
Paul.
fella's name.
Yeah, it's proper, right,
Yeah.
Gary Paul.
I know, yeah.
Gary
I don't
Paul.
look like a Gary or a Paul.
Gary Paul, though.
Ian's
like
in the
an
mix with
Indian
him, though.
fella. Gary Paul. To me, I'm sure I've met an Indian fella called Gary Paul.
What?
Paul or Paul is an Indian name.
Oh, okay. I'd love
Surname.
to hear of an Indian Gary. That'd be
What's
good.
your
Yeah, it's
middle-
usually the
what's-
geezers you phone
what's your
when you're
middle
phoning O2. My middle name was my dad's first name,
Right, okay.
and my son's middle name will be my first name.
That's the same as my son's. My son's middle name is my dad's name.
Jay, like Homer. Homer J. Simpson.
We suggested that and suggested Jay, but it got vetoed.
Have you seen that episode?
Yeah.
That's a great episode, isn't it? When he goes to find out what the J stands for.
It's Jay.
And it's AY. Jay. Simpsons used to be so good.
I know, man.
I was so close to having my recent born called Gunnar as well.
Oh, mate, don't. Not just because of our recent fun, but
And
it
it was
shavtastic. I'm sorry.
yeah, but it was
It's
it
more
was
of
a
a
couple of
dog's
weeks.
name, right?
Gunnar.
Yeah. But it was a couple of weeks before Holly got announced,
Dog's name.
and I'm thinking, oh, it's 20 years since the treble, blah blah blah.
So is Holly a remix version of Ollie?
What?
Holly.
Holly? Who's Holly?
Did you say Holly?
No, Gunnar.
What's
Ollie
right.
Gunnar, as in
but I
Gunnar.
thought you said.
Holly. Right, so you're just gonna have Gunnar,
Yeah.
right? Right. But you fucking vetoed that yourself.
No, I didn't veto it.
Your missus said stop.
We also had a little girl, and
Called her Holly?
no. So yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, you can't call a girl Gunnar.
Nah, Gunnar, even as a middle name.
I quite liked Hunter as well.
People
for a
wouldn't
boy.
know whether it
Hunter.
was because he was in the army or is he a United fan.
Exactly.
Or I buzz off Vikings. That was
Yeah.
that was what I was sort of like portraying to Janine. And we're lying in bed one night, and she was scrolling through her phone, and it was when the rumours had started about Ollie coming to United, and she was like,
Yep.
because she'd never heard of him before that, and she was like, "Is this why you want Gunnar?" And I was like, "Oh,
You know,
Forgot about him.
my brother's
that Norwegian guy, yeah."
my brother's middle name's John Yap.
What?
Wow.
Genuinely, John
John
Yap.
Yap?
After Yap Stam.
What,
Oh,
his
thanks.
middle name is
I was
Yap.
wondering if it was after
it's
fucking
John
Mikael
Yap, there's
Sylvester.
two middle
Two
names.
middle names.
He's got
Oh,
two middle
John
names. And then
Yap.
my other brother's called James Keane.
No, you
Ron
missed the
Keane.
trick there. Why not Yip Yap?
Yeah.
Yip yap.
Well, the thing is, Yap is like the Dutch version of John, so we just call him Henry John now.
Right, okay.
So why have
I like
John
Georgie
in
for
there?
a girl. I
Yap
was
is
thinking
John?
Georgie.
I know.
Craig, you know.
I know.
His
I know.
father's called Georgia.
It's like me saying Gary Gaz.
I know it is.
Great, yeah. Well, we are here to talk about football, isn't it?
No,
I think.
absolutely not. That's about
You
as
mentioned
close.
Simpsons.
Don't
That's
spoil it.
I need to get this out. What's the one Simpsons episode that mentions Man United, sort of?
The one with Ryan. He talks about Ryan Giggs.
Says, can't believe Ryan Giggs got a foul in the box or something that
Yeah,
doesn't make
it's a
sense.
real.
The one where they go
It's
to
a
Britain.
proper, really shit Americanism.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
of
yeah.
Just like, oh, I can't believe we got a penalty
mentioned
kick on the
Pele in
offside.
it.
Yeah.
Which is, I hate that they mention Pele because it's
Yeah, and Joe, is
one
Family
of the
Guy.
worst footballers
I'm
ever.
Pele. I'm Pele.
Right. Even if you don't rate him, he's genuinely not one of the worst footballers.
Hang on.
He's not that bad.
How do you know?
I've got a box of outrageous
seen him?
statements, and in that box goes
Right,
Beatles are overrated. Pele
Which is
shit.
fucking stupid.
Phil Jones for captain. Johnny Evans for captain.
Yeah.
yeah.
Johnny Evans should have been captain. He should have been captain.
Yeah.
If Johnny Evans,
Stay on Pele.
if Johnny Evans comes back to United now, fucking hell, he probably would be captain in certain games and most
Wait,
of
being
the
there.
players.
now.
I'm captain now.
Now listen.
Don't
that's a good place
stay
to
on
start.
Pele. No,
Oh.
stay on Pele.
I want to talk about Phil Jones.
Okay.
Okay.
Because that is a funny clip. And it's been going around this
Which
week.
one?
Went viral of me.
Oh, right, okay.
Talking about Phil Jones, saying he'll be United and England captain one day.
Fergie said
Do you
it
know what
too,
though?
so it's fucking...
He did captain United and he has captain England.
Did you see that picture I put out?
That's genuine, real.
Yeah.
Captain's armband on his head.
Yeah, that happened. That
To be
happened.
fair, if you gave Phil Jones an armband, the captain's arm, that's probably what he'd do with it, isn't it?
Yeah, because he's used to more having head injuries than he is wearing things on his arm, innit?
Fucking try and eat it.
I'm not being funny, but if your opinions at any point aligned with Sir Alex Ferguson, I think you can get away with it. I think you'll be all right.
I think
he took it further, though, didn't he? Fergie said he's like one of our best ever players.
So he's getting next Duncan Edwards.
Yeah.
Imagine if I come out and said that today.
Mate, that'd be going viral forever.
Yeah.
I would get lynched.
Seriously.
I can't
Genuinely.
even. Is that bad an opinion that you can't even joke about it? You can't be like, well,
But he
Duncan
had so
Edwards
much
must have been
talent,
shit.
though. He had so much talent. So much. When he came from Blackburn, everybody wanted him.
Or was people projecting what they've seen and multiplying that by the experience that a central defender generally gets?
Wait, say that again.
Was they looking at what sort of prospect he looked like with his movement, with his
and saying,
tackling,
he's going to be like John Terry.
And thinking that...
Or he's going to be like Vidic.
Knowing the trajectory most first-choice centre defenders take when they don't get injured every fortnight, are they thinking that with experience and this, that and the other, he's going to be...
No, but do you remember him playing for Blackburn against Manchester United?
I used to cover Blackburn.
He was like 16, 17 years old.
Was
that when we won
Blackburn
1-0 for the league? Or was that a different... When Phil Jones played against us?
It was in the league.
No, when we
drew. No, we won. Won at Black. Was
it 1-0 penalty? Was it that game?
When we was a training exercise for half an hour.
There was one at Old
Trafford. They weren't relegated and we'd won the league.
I need to
and
check
we just
that.
passed it around like.
But he was phenomenal.
Shocking.
He was, and the Fergie Duncan Edwards thing at that point.
Well, he didn't get ridiculed.
He could get away with it.
Fergie did not get ridiculed at the time.
He would have been at Blackburn that year, by the way. You're right, because that was title number 19, wasn't it? That wasn't 20. That was 19.
No, it wasn't 20.
That was 19. And he came. He was at Sunderland when we didn't win the league. He was at that game. I remember him being in that season. So he would have played for Blackburn that season. That would have been his last season at Blackburn.
Sorry, my parking's just run out, so I'm just going to
sorry.
Yes, while you lot carry on with the podcast if that's all right.
Music.
Nice one. Yeah. But while I'm here, actually, someone said to me the other day about Phil Jones. Someone genuinely said to me, he's been being played out of position his whole career.
At centre half?
Genuinely been played
on a football pitch.
If he was played as a defensive midfielder, and no joke, they did say the term box to box, but I think they got a bit confused there. That he would have been a lot better.
But he did play as a defensive midfielder at times.
Exactly.
People forget that.
For England, I remember him playing as a defensive midfielder.
And I thought he was a defensive midfielder when we got him. I thought that would be his best position.
I don't know how much of it's ring rust, but he was fucking shocking the other night.
I do feel, right, I'm going to play a little bit devil's advocate over here, but I do feel a little bit sorry for him because like when he cancelled his testimonial because no one will come. And it's like...
It's pretty funny that. Though.
Yeah, but...
I mean, it's sad.
I remember making a joke about that.
At the end of the day...
And he made me think, has he seen that?
That's what I mean, like...
Feel sad.
He obviously knows that everyone laughs at him and that he's not very good. And it's almost tragic.
It is a bit tragic.
He just needs to move on.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
and
ultimately,
for everyone.
that's
a thing, that's an issue right throughout the club. I was looking into something today which will flabbergast you. And I'm going to throw this out for you. How many goalkeepers did Sir Alex Ferguson sign? And can you name them between 1999 and 2007? Right, let's go for how many first.
So after Schmeichel, you
So Schmeichel's gone.
Right. Van der Haar was already there.
Up until
we didn't sign him.
Van der Haar was already there. We went for Bartes.
Ricardo.
No, wasn't Bosnich first.
Let's name them. Bosnich, Bartes, Tim Howard, Roy Carroll,
Andy Gorham.
Ricardo.
Andy Gorham.
Andy Gorham doesn't count.
Why? Emergency loan. We needed him.
We didn't sign him.
Nick Culkin was through the youth, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on a minute, I'm missing someone here.
You're missing a few.
Let's say Van der Sar, David De Gea, get them out of the way.
No, he wasn't 2007.
Van der Sar, yeah.
Oh, between what year?
99 and 07.
07, okay.
You don't think that's a lot of goalkeepers already?
Kuszak.
There's more. Boom.
Thomas Kuszak. He was in goal that day at Blackburn.
Yeah. Ben Foster.
Ben Foster.
Oh, what about Anders
Lindegaard?
No, that was after 2007.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that was around David De Gea.
There's two more.
There's two more. We've said Tim Howard, haven't we?
I'll give you Luke Steele.
Oh, fucking hell.
Should we get the other one?
Let's go through who we've got. So I'll try and do them in order. So we had, we signed 3 immediately. Bartes, Bosnich, and Luke Steele straight away. I think Luke Steele was then. We got Tim Howard, Ricardo, Roy Carroll. Have I mentioned Luke Steele?
Yeah.
Phil Jones didn't play in the 1-1 game where Rooney scored the penalty.
That 1-1, that was it. Because they needed a draw, we needed a draw.
He played it in the 0-0.
I remember the end of that game.
Mate,
that was
we
fucking
literally
the end of that
come
game.
out of our half and they didn't try and make us. It was like, if I was a fan of a team that got relegated that season, by one point I'd have been fucking raging because it was just like, yeah, you stay there, we'll stay here, and we'll get the title and you'll stay up. Happy days.
When I think of Van der Haar, I think of Arsenal away when he got kneed in his face.
That's when Nick Culkin came on, isn't it?
He had a
shortest
big
debut ever,
fucking
shortest
eye.
career, United career ever, yeah. Remember, like Martin Keown and all them arguing with the ref.
Right, you ready?
Mate, you just nearly took his fucking head off. What are you on about, you idiot? Nearly killed him. And he's like arguing.
Taibbi, fucking hell.
So we signed Bosnic, Taibbi and Bartes in 99-2000.
Where did he come from again? Brescia? Torino?
Torino. Then we signed Roy Carroll and Luke Steele. And then we signed Ricardo. And then Tim Howard. Is there another one that season?
Got some Tim Howard signed.
Ben Foster, Edwin van der Sar.
I'll never forgive
Tim
him.
Howard.
I'll never forgive him for Porto.
And then fucking
I used to
Paulinho.
love watching him. Now, there's nothing
fucking
against
mad.
anyone that's got Tourette's, obviously, but remember when he'd be in goal, just standing there, just swearing his head off.
We used to call him Tim fucking Howard, didn't we?
Mate, remember what the
We used to call him Tim Howard. That was his name.
Tim fucking Howard.
Andy Gorham. There's only 2 Andy Gorhams. I'm not condoning that, by the way.
What?
We used to shout there's only 2 Andy Gorhams.
Because of how fat he was.
No,
But anyway, you're missing the point of what I was trying to say here. We signed 10 fucking goalkeepers
young kid to know what
from 99 to 07. 10 goalkeepers we signed.
And all of them apart from one were shite.
Nah, they had their spells. Tim Howard was good at the
Bartes
start.
started off all right, but
So
it was
he
just...
got man of the match at Anfield.
Yep, he was
Throw
very
that
good
in
at the
there.
start.
Just saying. Just
I
saying.
mean, Ricardo and Luke Steele weren't signings, really, was they? Let's be honest.
Taibbi didn't make that mistake. He would have. I think he would have
Oh,
gone
no,
on.
but the
But-
5-0
but he
against
did.
Chelsea was shocking as well.
He
to be
did.
fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there were some bad moments.
Chris Sutton
wasn't
got his only Chelsea goal against
They had
him,
Ed De Hoy in goal, didn't they? He was a bad
Fucking hell,
goalkeeper.
man.
there? He was a tracky goalkeeper as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
What was that fella that,
Goalkeeper.
that
Dimitri
played for?
Karin. You always remember him being a tracky
Remember
goalkeeper.
that fella that played for Crystal Palace? Gabo Karai.
Who?
Was it him?
There's a Crystal Palace
He
goal.
used to
that
wear
you
them
always had
baggy pants.
You love your random footballers, you man. Most of these fucking pass me by.
Loads of obscure footballers that everyone
Some
forgets,
collecting-
and then you just remember it from stickers.
Yeah.
Is it?
And but just from looking at his fucking jogging bottoms. He had grey jogging bottoms on.
Oh, yes, now I remember.
Actually, do you know what? I think the worst out of all them was Bartes.
No,
I do.
You're wrong.
Remember when
Even though
he
we
pissed
won the
on the
title with him,
pitch?
he was
Do you know what?
shocking,
Remember when he
man.
pissed on the pitch?
If you fast forward... If you fast forward now
Mine was
to...
before kick-off. 10 minutes before kick-off.
If you've brought Bartes
He did a
into
circle, pissing in the wind.
2020...
But mate, every game against Arsenal, he gave Henry at least 2 goals start. He did.
Who, Bartes?
Yeah.
Nah, Bartes was mint for the first
Oh, I
season.
don't
Sorry,
know.
I love
He'd be a
Bartes.
2020 goalkeeper, like, playing out from the back and stuff.
He was sick.
He was crazy,
He played
man. He was too
in
crazy.
a pre-season game in Asia. He played up front.
That's what I
for a
mean.
bit.
I don't want my keeper doing shit like that.
I
Just
did.
get him goal.
Then
makes
became
him
a rally
safe.
car
Fergie
driver.
allowed little shit to go on like that as well, didn't he?
Yeah, that's
no
what we
little
could-
crazy shit.
That's what we could afford to do shit like that because we were mint. Do you know what I mean? You can buy Veron and then put him on the bench.
Like, do you remember when he tried to play Di Canio offside? Just standing there with his hand up,
mate,
like,
yeah.
they blew the whistle, mate, and he just put it in there. Anyway, that might have worked.
How was that game?
I
remember when I was a kid at that age, because that was just 2000, right?
2000.
Third round, FA Cup third round 2000.
2001.
I love shit like that.
2001.
Yeah. So
Just
I remember
just
going to
12.
that game and like as a kid I went to probably like 10 home games a season. That was what with my membership. That's what I used to go to. And I don't think I'd seen us lose many games. And I seen us lost that. And I remember just not speaking. I'm just like,
Oh, mate.
have we lost the game, Dad? Like, you know,
I remember
It
my
must be
first
like-
game was the Leverkusen Champions League game where we drew. And obviously everyone was feeling pretty negative about it at the end. And my dad was trying to explain away goals to me. And I was just not getting it. So I was like, what? What? We fucking drew
When
that?
was this?
What?
Last month?
What?
So I was
Is there
waiting for that. I was trying to
is
get
there
that
anything
first.
you believed before you went to your first football match? Like I went when I was about 5'6", but when I got there, I remember thinking I'd hear commentators. Like I'd hear the commentators in the ground.
Lads,
And, like saying, Dad, where's
The Stretford end was still up when I went first.
Mate, I need to go and fucking move the car. Sorry, lads, I can't extend the parking.
Oh, all right then.
Sorry,
All
I'm
right.
just going to move it to the other car park. I'll be fine.
Do you remember the code, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, lads.
We'll do that live read while he's gone.
Gaz got nabbed by aliens.
Yeah, so Gaz has just had to
I
go
hope he's got a ticket.
move his car.
If you got a
Is it
ticket, Gaz,
extended
don't
it?
move your car.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Because you've already paid for that parking.
But yeah, I've got we're being sponsored here by the guys at ExpressVPN.
Oh, yeah.
So if
Okay.
you're a United fan, which listening to this, you probably are. The easiest place to watch all the Premier League action is with ExpressVPN. It allows you to access EPL streams from around the world for a fraction of the price it would normally cost. So it lets you buy, you sign up for ExpressVPN and you can buy an 11 Sports account, and then that lets you log into there and you can choose your location where you want to put, and then you can purchase that for over £2 a month. So If you go to, you can get a 3-month free trial, expressvpn.com/extra. That's expressvpn.com/extra for 3 months free and a 1-year package. So the link is in the description. It's good. We've used it to watch some of the games that are like 3 o'clock kickoffs that you can't normally watch. And it's legit. I've been told.
No, I used it once to log into Amazon Prime. I wanted to, because we obviously talk about managers, and since this podcast started and since this channel started, we're always coming around to a managerial debate at some point. One of Gaz's tweet went viral recently, which was an interesting tweet, considering no one on this channel is ever allowed to talk about the Glazers. But he tweeted saying that the Glazers, with the Glazers and Woodward, would never win another Premier League title. And it went quite viral.
I was about to chat then about like the managers in that situation with the Glazers and Woodward. Do we need a manager? Because we've had Jose.
Do we need a manager?
We had Jose.
It's a bold strategy.
I'm going to say we do. Do you know what?
There's no
Let him finish.
I've meditated on it.
Let him finish. I was just saying, we had Jose who went dead against the board publicly and then sort of turned everyone against each other, turned the club slightly toxic, maybe. Yeah,
at the end, but at the start, he was right up firmly up there.
I think he went too far and then he started, sort of.
His last summer, he
squad turned
fucking
against
booted
him.
doors off and flipped tables.
And now we've got Ole, who a lot of people are saying is the other end of the spectrum and is almost pandering to them. Do we need a manager to be successful with these owners? Do we need a manager that slightly panders to them, almost?
No, I don't think you need to pander to them. I think what Ole and Jose are doing is both wrong. I think it's both wrong. I think there's a medium to be found in the middle. Where
but there's
you
a lot
can
that
be
goes on
positive
behind
about
closed
the
doors that we
players.
don't see.
Well, I know that he flipped out in the summer. When he signed the contract, he was promised, you will get a total overhaul. And
Same thing happened with Moyes.
Yeah.
Look at Fabregas, what he said recently.
Well, yeah, he said he was promised. Moyes come out and said he was promised Bale and Ronaldo, didn't he? And people were like, fuck off, Moyes. But if that's what he was promised, that's what he was promised.
So Fabregas came out recently, so they had talks.
Well, that was really well known. That was really well known. I fucking spoke to an agent at a trial day, and he told me Fabregas is going to be David Moyes' first signing. His mouth to my ear. That's not through a third,
how
fourth
close
guy.
he was to you?
Yeah.
And then he met David Moyes, and David Moyes was
He was like rubbing my belly on him.
I've got these videos of Thomas Gravison I'm going to show you.
But do you know, like, I mean,
Gravison was great.
That's how things
Gravison.
break down in transfers and stuff. Now, whatever happened, that didn't get concluded. Woodward left Australia to go and sort it, didn't he? And then, I don't know, went on a cruise or something.
He swam, didn't he?
So, there's obviously an over-promising in terms of stuff.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Jose had agreed whatever was going to happen in the summer. Then halfway through the summer, he was like, I need to sign Boateng or Yerry Mina, like totally pulled out of his arse. And people at the club had gone, well, we've looked at them, the scouts and the analysts, and we actually don't think that they're good signings. Now, if everybody doesn't agree, from the coaching staff, the analysts and the scouts, we don't sign a player. So there's a bit of a team that goes together to do transfers. I don't know if we're trying to set a really high bar for players. That's just fucking ridiculous for us at the minute, because there's this thing at the minute. I'm doing a video today actually on it, that you can just go and sign players from relegation teams that improve us. Teams fighting relegation.
Oh, massively. Jack Grealish.
Absolutely.
Grealish, McGinn, Doucouré,
McGinn?
Ake.
McGinn's twice any
Fraser,
Troy Deeney.
got.
Do you know what I mean? Troy Deeney would be a brilliant
Fucking
one.
right. Oi, I'd love United to sign fucking Troy
leading the
Deeney.
line against
Just bring in all my
United.
local
Just as
Miros.
before everyone starts, as a second choice, as a plan B, Troy Deeney versus the nothing that we've got now is better.
We're exaggerating the point to make a point.
The point I'm making is like, are we sticking in this ridiculously high standard of players?
B-Tech Messi.
When actually we just need more players and quickly. Like
But you made a similar point last season when you said before the summer. I remember me and you were chatting. I think it was on
Me and
a
you,
preview.
talking.
I know, surely not. And you said you could get players from the bottom half of the table that massively improve United.
Yeah,
in
I'm
the summer.
still in it to relegation.
Yeah.
Now. If you give me the championship, I'll do it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And it's like that's where we're at now.
I mean, when we look at the recruitment policy of Leicester, for example, as well, and you look at some of the players, like look how easily they replaced Kante.
Yeah.
Look how easily they replaced Maguire.
Yeah.
look how easily they've been able to replace players and move on.
If they
And look how
replace Vardy
quickly
with
they did
another
it as well.
fucking crackhead, wicked drinking Red Bull addict that just bangs goals in left, right, and centre, you're just gonna have to.
They'll probably
go.
just get his lookalike, won't they?
Look at how quickly they did it as well. Like, I put that tweet the other day because I was there watching the game, and yeah, we've got Jones, who we know has been here far too long. We've known he's shite for 8 years. So this guy we've known for a very long time. It's only because of the Glazers that he's still here, surely. Or the lack of
I think with
recruitment.
Philip Jones, it's British. 2 is one is British, so there's always that. Okay, we need to fill that quota, so let's keep him around. 2 is on probably a pretty big contract in what comparison to what people will want to sign him.
People don't sign reductions in wages very easily.
And it's like we would have gave him that contract to protect the investment and be like, oh, just in case someone wants to give us some money for him. And 3, I think his injury issues don't help. Probably whenever a window's come around, I'd love to check the stats, but he's probably been injured for a lot of them. And 4, every time we have a new manager, he seems to have a period where you think,
Well,
he's back again, Philip.
End of last season, under Ollie Ball was a lot down
Jones?
to with Phil Jones. Like, it really, really was. Like, when I looked into it, I shocked myself. What? Phil Jones under that win streak of Ollie's at the start of his reign.
Yeah,
Chris
Philip
Smalling
Jones
played a lot of them games.
No, I'm Phil Jones.
Here's what
Phil
I'm saying.
Jones in those,
The
yeah.
fact that Phil Jones should have been replaced 8 years ago. You've got Pereira, who should be getting games.
Did he sign 8 years ago?
I think it was just over 8 years ago, wasn't it, that he signed? So
To be fair, if the signings of Rojo, Bailly and Lindelof were successful and proved to be successful. So if our transfer policy, again it comes back to transfer policy, if our transfer policy was good enough, they wouldn't be here.
No, right, but right. Phil Jones should have been replaced 8 years ago. Pereira should have been replaced 3 years ago when we fucking knew
It was
he
less
shite,
than
which
8 years
which
ago. I
would
said
have
he
told
would
you
be
3 years
United
ago.
and England
Fucking
captain.
Lingard maybe a year ago we should have been looking like, this guy ain't going to be the first teamer that we think we maybe need to replace this
You
guy.
do need
The
a
fact that
squad,
we've not
though.
replaced, I know we understand that, but we
I'm
should have
happy with
replaced
replacing
them.
people in the first
I'd
team.
rather replace them with a player with a bit of potential who one day could keep improving. You know what I mean? That's the sort of player I'd rather have in there instead. Right? We didn't replace any of them. It took them so long to do it. So now I'm looking at players who haven't been here that long, who are good enough to be squad players, not first teamers. And I'm thinking players like Fred are still going to be starting for United in 5 years regularly. And it makes me think how far we are behind and how much we need to catch up.
Well,
and it's going to take us so long to do it.
Window.
So I don't think.
Skriniar and all sorts of stuff.
I
An injury at
genuinely-
1 centre half, you've got 9.
I do not think United will win a Premier League title with the Glazers and Ed Woodward again. And it's horrible
That was
to
the
say,
question,
but
wasn't
that's what
it?
I think.
Yeah, it was. Ben
I think
Ben
you're
texted
right.
me after the game and said, do you think we go as long as we did last time? I went, what, 26 years? I went, I'm certain we get to 10.
I was going to say, we're nearly at 10.
Well, I'm certain we get to 10 though. I'm not even holding hope that we don't get to 10. We get into 10.
Yeah, definitely.
10's coming. Don't worry about 10.
Definitely.
Then 10's definitely coming. Does it get to 15? It depends on other people. I think.
You don't know, do you? Like you're saying under Glazers and Woodward. I agree. I don't think as long as Ed Woodward and
They're
the
relying
Glazers
on
there,
a managerial
I don't think that'll
grade.
happen.
But you could
Yeah,
always
and that's
fluke
not-
something. That's the weird thing, is that you can fluke it.
But I don't know
consider
how
that
long
as-
they're going to be around. I don't think they're going to be around forever.
No, I don't
I'm
think
hoping
they
not
are.
anyway.
No, I don't think they
I
are.
think we can fluke one, but I don't give a fuck about a fluking one. I want to return to the way you're in contention year after year. How long is that going to take? That might take another decade.
I
from now.
give a fuck about fluking one if it puts us ahead.
Yeah, I'd
of
take
the
a
Scousers.
fluke.
totally, yeah, but-
If the Scousers say got to 20,
I'd
we
take
win
a
the next
fluky
one by a
win right now.
fluke.
Liverpool,
Take a fluky win against Norwich.
we're so far behind Liverpool and City at the minute, and they keep improving, and we're not improving as much as them.
No.
So we're playing catch up, and we're going to be playing catch up for a
Do you
very
know
long
what?
time.
It's so funny that you've got all the fucking the hashtag Glazer out stuff at the minute, and because you're not tweeting about it 24/7, you obviously support the Glazers. But I remember having arguments with people on Twitter about the Glazers. In fact, if you go and fucking search my ads,
You were arguing with someone on Twitter.
I know
struggle to
I know
believe
it's
that.
not like me, but I was arguing with them, and they'd be like, "Look what we've won under them," and you're
Remember
like,
when we used to say it, like just after Fergie left, we used to refer to like the Glazer ownership. Like even we was even talking about my gravestone the other day, what video I wanted. I was like, yeah, that Swansea one, and it's like we've been talking about it for years, like, and it's only now that it's more. I think people that have been match going have known about it. They've either just not cared about it, or they cared so much that they've stopped going to matches. And I think others, that especially the social media generation, they've just started to realise the effect that it's had.
and people are like,
It's
"Yo,
bizarre.
if you do here's the thing. I think the
People
protests
don't-
are futile because the protests in 2005 were huge. There was boycotts, there was protests, there was fucking
Set up a new
massive
fucking
banners
club.
and all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
Right.
there's so many like old school United fans just never came back. couple of thousand of them, set up a new club. That was the biggest rift in United fan base I have ever seen. It was carnage. So when people are like, I'm not going to say don't do your protest. I'm not going to say don't do your tweets. I'm not going to say don't do your hashtags. I'm just going to say I'm not going to join it because I feel like it's futile. I support your message, but I can't waste my time just doing that. That's not going to work unless you've got a mate with 4 bill and we can fucking bend his ear a little bit and get him on board. But what happened in 2005 was it was massive and it did fucking nothing.
People.
But to be fair, a lot of the sort of stories around there that maybe just after 2005 about trying to stop it and trying to buy the club were that we were closer than a lot of people think.
We stopped Murdoch,
people born when the Glazers bought United are 15 now. So a lot of people on Twitter who are saying why aren't you using these hashtags, they don't remember 2009. They weren't around there when the protests were happening then. When the protests were when we were winning stuff. That's when we were protesting because it was about the integrity of Manchester United.
And that was the issue then. Is
just about the lack of
forums
trophies.
And stuff then was like, stop fucking protesting like we're in a Champions League final. And you're like,
no.
But like for the good of the club, like they've leveraged, and at the time, I mean, the Sky TV deal is outrageous, and no business plan could have ever gone, I would get like $5 billion a season. Like, I'm sure that's coming. Like, no one could have predicted that. We could have easily, I mean, I don't know how many of our audience, at least, I don't even know if you do, the ITV Carlton thing. So Leeds United basically went tits up because they banked on TV payments from ITV Carlton. ITV Digital was basically like what BT Sport has just done.
Yeah.
So when BT Sport came in and went, we'll have all of these extra TV games. So the Premier League gets money from Sky and it gets money from BT Sport. Well, back in, I think it was 99, 2000, somewhere around then, Peter Risdale, as the Leeds chairman at that time, he got, I think it was loans out on the basis of this money coming in from ITV Carlton.
Right, but it was also the Champions League.
Yeah.
Was it Setanta as well at that point?
They'd banked on...
It was the same company.
Their whole thing was based around them getting into the Champions League, and they missed out by like a point. Got to the semi-final the season before and got knocked out.
They also banked on their own gate receipts.
Yeah, and it was all sort of... Once they didn't get into Champions League, it all just came crashing down.
So 3 years before the... 3-4 years
people
before
used to fear we'd go that way.
But this is what I'm saying. 3 years before the Glazer takeover, that just happened to Leeds United. They had a fire sale, that's why the likes of Alan Smith, Rio Ferdinand, all of them lot left Leeds United, and they just went whoop and dropped down like a fucking stone after being Champions League semi-finalists. Anyway. Gone. But the point is that football club went tits up and nearly went out of business, nearly didn't exist as a football club because of their owners and the way they gambled on future payments. The Glazers bought Manchester United with £600 million worth of debt when our turnover, let alone profit, our turnover at the time was somewhere in the region of 200 million. So you're like, wait a fucking minute. So this club's now got to pay all that back. And for facts, we've paid 1.3 billion in debt repayments, interest and refinancing costs, and we still owe 400 million. You could have got a better deal with Wonga, right? You could have got a fucking payday loan and not paid off $1 billion. And how would you pay off 1.3 billion and still owe 66% of what you
Glazer-nomics.
It's insane. And you wonder why United fans are fucking annoyed, because we've had over 100 million a season. 100 million. Think what that was in 2005. That was 4 world-class players, right? Now it's probably 1. But back in 2005, that was 4 world-class players. We've paid that every single fucking season. Think about every transfer that's happened.
Imagine if they just gave that money to Fergie.
Ribery, all that sort of stuff.
Imagine if they just gave that money to Fergie and let him rebuild for when he leaves.
For transfers.
Oh,
we'd be playing in a 500,000 all-seater fucking stadium.
It's like that shows you the lack of forward thinking, the lack of forward planning, the lack of planning for Fergie leaving, the just thinking, it's just going to carry on being successful. He leaves, shit, now we need to throw money at it, chucking money at it under 3-4 different managers. It just continues to get worse.
So
if you knew a guy, right, that had 3 businesses, one was let's say an American football team, one was another football team, and one was a fucking shopping centre, and all 3 of his businesses was fucked, would you be like, you're a really good business?
I know, yeah, exactly.
Or would you be like, bro, maybe go and work in a chippy? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Sounds like the man they made president.
The thing is, though...
yeah, that's a good point.
The thing is, though, when it all comes round to is the Glazer family own a club which is worth over $1 billion, and they literally put fuck all into it. And that, my friends, is the move of the century. That is...
How good's your credit rating got to be for that?
You can go even
I've had to have a
further,
phone call
right?
for a phone
You
contract.
can go even. You know what annoys me, right? It's like people talking about City and what they've done in the last decade and whatnot, and throw money at it. And it's like United should have been doing similar things. The way they regenerated that area of East Manchester, Old Trafford. It's going beyond football. It's Old Trafford.
know why
is
they've
Needs a
done that.
fucking baby
poorest
wipe, innit?
areas of Manchester, innit? Like that whole area
You
should
know why
be
they've done that,
redeveloped.
though, right?
Who cares? They've
It's
done
called
it.
sports washing, Gaz.
What do you mean?
Fucking, it's called sports washing.
Go on, explain your point there.
The owners of Man City are some of the most corrupt people on this planet,
Absolutely.
Gaz.
I'm going for an
They're
allegedly
involved
there.
That
in-
doesn't mean they've not
They're
helped out
involved
the
in-
people in that
They're involved
area.
in some of the.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go for
The local
another
so,
people of
allegedly
so they've
there.
helped.
Manchester.
They've helped the people in the area around where they
Yeah.
own a business.
Yeah.
But they're still fucking people
I
all over
agree.
the planet in the world.
I agree.
That's called sports washing. Helping this guy but punching this guy.
Yo,
in the
I'm
face.
not saying they're nice guys.
like-
I'm saying what they've done in East Manchester is a good thing, and we should have owners that do a similar thing in one of the poorest
I'm not
areas
sure
of
it all is a
Manchester.
good thing because they might be artificially inflating prices. They're building new properties, but there's
It's not gentrification, though, is it?
It is. And all of the new area of a place called Hultown, which isn't actually built yet, which is like from like Wing Yip and Oldham Road down through Ancoats, is going to be a whole new area. But when you
It's
do
not
a new build
gentrification.
nowadays,
It's affordable. A lot of it's
there's a
affordable.
percentage that you're supposed to do, which is affordable housing, and they
Yeah.
ain't been doing that. They've just been building whatever the fuck they want.
Well, I
They're
think-
going to own like a quarter of
I heard
Manchester.
that's why Vincent Kompany was doing all that homeless stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because they're bringing out some housing which isn't very favourable.
I don't know.
So but go back to Gaz's point, though.
I'm just going to throw quickly allegedly in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
everything
fair.
mentioned in this podcast. is
I get
entirely
where you're
fictional.
coming from, Gaz, about Old Trafford.
not
It is a
the opinion of
disgrace,
me.
the poverty around there. But our owners won't even fucking sort out Old Trafford, the
Oh, I
football
know.
ground,
I
let
know,
alone
yeah.
the fucking...
Fucking lights are out.
town. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to be buying bulbs for the library.
But I'm just saying that's what United should have been
I agree
doing.
with you.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
is-
run
it is-
properly.
For those of you who weren't at the
and it
fucking
saddens
match
me.
on
I'm not saying
Tuesday,
I'm not saying I
was
want them to
Tuesday,
be causing fucking chaos
Yeah.
in the Middle East as well, mate.
We
I'm
should
not
have been doing
saying
it, but
that.
not with blood money.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, for those of you who were there on Tuesday, do you know the very famous red Manchester United part of Old Trafford? The sign, the neon bit?
Yeah.
That wasn't even on. So I don't know if the bulb's gone.
At the start of the game, a few letters were on. And then
You're joking.
I'm reliably informed.
Really?
Yeah. So basically, put some fucking money in the meter. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning into the podcast. Sorry that it's been a bit of a hectic, mad one. Make sure you check out ExpressVPN.
What's that?
Yeah, /
Don't you right, Gaz?
expressvpn.com/extra. The link is in the description, and that is to protect your online activity, and you get 3 months free on a 1-year package. So that's visit expressvpn.com/extra to learn more.
Make sure you check out at RFFH for Jay on Twitter, at Mr. Stephen Howson on everything, and at radio_Gaz on everything as well. And check out Talking Balls on BBC Radio Manchester.
You still need to do them
His YouTube.
training modules, by the
I
way.
ain't doing them. Fuck them.
Sorry, he got me a gig. When I got the phone calls like, does Mac not want to do it? He went, he's not replying to me.
I ain't doing a 4-hour course. Fuck that. Anyway, guys, see you later.